Okay, so we are going to discuss infrared spectroscopy in today's class. Infrared, infrared spectroscopy. अच्छा ये टेक्निक होती क्या है? ये it's an alternative technique. You know, it's an alternative technique to identify what? To identify what? The functional group. To identify to to determine the structure of organic compound. इंफ्रारेड स्पेक्ट्रोस्कोपी से हम स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ ऑर्गेनिक कंपाउंड जो है वो फाइंड आउट करेंगे. ओके, सो basically this is the technique in which we are going to determine we are going to determine a structure of organic compound. Structure of organic compound. Okay, structure of organic compound. I told you when we were discussing mass spectrometry, okay, in mass spectrometry we used to find the molecular mass of a sample, the isotopes of a sample, the percent abundance of a sample. Okay, so but in infrared spectroscopy we are going to find out the functional group. Specifically इसमें हम क्या कर रहे होंगे? फंक्शनल ग्रुप को फाइंड आउट कर रहे होंगे. स्पेशली टू फाइंड functional group. Okay, especially to find functional group. Furthermore, this is an analytical technique. We do combined analytical techniques, you know, to identify the structure. Sometime, like let's suppose you have discovered any of the compound and you need to identify, okay, what is this? So of course you need to do some analytical techniques that include NMR, that include IR, that include mass spectrometry, along with the chromatography. Few of the techniques we would be studying in A2, that is NMR and chromatography, and rest of the techniques we are going to study in AS level. We have studied mass spectrometry and today we are discussing infrared spectroscopy. So this is an alternative technique. Why I'm using the word alternative? You know, if you remember, we can identify the carbon-carbon double bond. Of course, carbon-carbon double bond is also a functional group. We can identify this functional group by adding bromine water. If the bromine water is going to decolorize, I can say that alkene is confirmed. And if you want to check the presence of alcohols, you need to add sodium metal. If alcohol is going to give you, like if the sample is going to give you effervescence, bubbles, fizzing, means that your OH is confirmed. Okay. And if you are going to add sodium carbonate in a carboxylic acid and it gives you again effervescence due to the formation of carbon dioxide. So means that carboxylic acid is confirmed. And to confirm, to check the presence of aldehyde, we used to add Tollens reagent and saline solution. Okay. So we can also identify the presence of functional group by doing these chemical tests. But we are doing infrared spectroscopy. That is why I am saying that this is an alternative technique. अच्छा इसमें हम करेंगे क्या alternative technique में basically uh, we would be providing some sort of radiation to the molecule. Okay, we would be providing some sort of radiation to the molecule. So your molecule will absorb some radiation and rest of the energy, rest of the light, it would be transmitting. Okay, then we have a detector The detector will detect, and then detector is going to give you the particular graph as the detector gave you in the case of mass spectrometry, and we analyzed the mass spectrum. So we are going to analyze the infrared spectrum. Okay, again let me tell you that, okay, in our syllabus we have to analyze the infrared spectrum. We are not supposed to discuss how it works, how we are going to put a sample, and how, like these things are not included in our syllabus. We would be having infrared spectrum and we have to analyze that spectrum. Okay, so we have a vibgyor vibgyor this is a visible region. Visible region. Before vibgyor we have UV region. And after VibGear, we have infrared region. And after VibGear, we have infrared region. Okay. तो हम क्या करेंगे? We would be providing infrared radiation to the sample. Okay. We would be providing infrared radiation to the sample, and then you will see. Okay. Let's suppose this is the infrared infrared radiation. We are going to provide infrared radiation to the sample just like that. Okay, just like that. In this we have a sample. In this we have a sample just like that. Okay, or after absorbing some infrared radiation by the sample, and rest of the energy it would be emitting, and then we have a detector that is going to detect, and we have a detector. Okay, this is your detector, and then the detector is going to give you spectrum, and we are going to analyze that spectrum. Okay, and we are going to analyze that spectrum. Okay, when we in organic compound to organic molecule, let's suppose we have different organic compounds. Let's suppose I have first compound, that is CHHOH. दूसरा कंपाउंड जो मेरे पास है that is HC double bond OH. तीसरा मेरे पास जो कंपाउंड है that is HC double bond O and then O then H. Okay. Uh, which bonds are present in methanol? तो एक बॉन्ड आपका है CH, then you have CO, and then you have OH. These three types of bonds are present in this sample. And if you can see your aldehyde, that is methanol, so in this compound you have only two bonds, that is CH bond and C double bond O bond. और अगर आप इसको देखोगे तो इसमें you have CH, then you have C double bond O, then you have C single bond O, and then you have OH. So different bonds you have. So if you have a different bond, so they will be absorbing different frequencies. They would be absorbing different frequencies of infrared radiation. Okay, they would be absorbing different frequencies of infrared radiation. So let's see, when the examiner would be giving you any compound, Okay, and we would be providing infrared radiation to that sample. Of course, they will react, they will respond, they will respond. इसकी सिंपल सी एग्जांपल दूं आपको मैं कि let's suppose कि this is this is she is Aisha. Let's suppose. Listen very carefully, okay? And okay, so let's suppose we have four babies, A, B, C, and D. Okay, अच्छा, और one, two, and then three. Okay, चलो मैं एक और बना लेता हूँ. This. Okay, so now what we have to do, okay, what we have to do, so we have four mothers. Okay, we have four mothers. यहाँ बीच में मैंने एक wall apply कर दी. Mothers cannot see their children. Okay. Uh, then what I am doing, what I am doing, I am going to take this child, okay, and I am going to throw away just like that. जैसे हम बच्चे को उछालते हैं ना ऊपर की तरफ ऐसे, just like that. Okay. So when I am doing just like that, so when the child comes back, top to bottom, obviously the child will respond. He will shout out. अब ये जो बच्चा shout करेगा, of course they will listen. Let's suppose she is the one, which is like her name is Aisha, and she identified that my child is weeping. Of course. तो हमने क्या किया कि when the child is going to respond, then his mother is going to identify his voice, and the mother says that this is my child. Okay, the same goes with an organic compound. We are going to give some sort of infrared radiation. When the compound will respond, we can note that respond, and we can tell, okay, this is alcohol, this is aldehyde, this is carboxylic acid, okay, this is ketone, this is amine, this is amide, this is carboxylic acid, this is an ester. Okay, तो इस तरह से हम कंपाउंड को आइडेंटिफाई करेंगे. Basically, respond we will notice the response of an organic compound after providing an infrared radiation. Okay, different bonds absorb different radiations. Different bonds absorb different radiations. This is very easy and interesting technique. Okay, let me tell you in detail, okay, what's happening in this technique. Examiner would be giving you this table. Let me tell you. Examiner would be giving you this table. Okay. You can see this. This is very important table that you will see in your exam. Uh, yeah, this table. Okay. In this table, you can see the carbon oxygen bond in hydroxy, that is alcohol, in ester. This bond will absorb this much frequency of infrared radiation. Okay. Or of course, after absorbing, the bond will vibrate. Covalent bond jitne bhi hote hain, they are going to vibrate at a fixed position. Vibrating के we have different modes. मैं अभी बताता हूँ आपको how many modes we have. But right now, let me tell you के like let's suppose if this carbonyl is present in amide, if this carbonyl is present in amide, amide is this CH3 C double bond O and then if the carbonyl is present in this amide, so this carbonyl will absorb this much radiation. Okay. And if the carbonyl is present in, if the C double bond O is present in carbonyl, carbonyl means it may be in aldehyde, it may be ketone, or it is from carboxylic acid. यानी कि you see carbonyl इसमें भी है, that is your aldehyde. Carbonyl इसमें भी है, that is your ketone. और carbonyl इसमें भी है, like I C double bond O. तो ये कितनी frequency absorb करेंगे? This much. Okay, this much frequency they will absorb, right? Okay. Then if the C double bond is present ester, in ester, just like that. So this carbonyl will absorb this much frequency. Okay, this much frequency. Set हो गया? So I don't know what is the sample. I don't know the test tube that you are giving me. What is behind that? I can only provide infrared radiation, and I'm waiting. I'm waiting for their response. Okay, the detector is going to show me the spectrum. I would see the spectrum, and I would tell you, okay, what is this? And I have this table. Okay, I have this table. Let's suppose if you have a heart problem, okay, any heart problem you have, so you go to the doctor and the doctor takes ECG, electrocardiogram. You take that electrocardiogram and then go to the doctor and you are going to show your ECG to the doctor. So the doctor is going to see your ECG and he is going to decide okay, what's the problem you are facing right now. क्या मसला था, हार्ट अटैक था या कोई और पेन है, वैसे ही कोई नॉर्मल सा पेन है. सो द सेम गोज इन दिस. We are going to see the infrared spectrum. Okay, we are going to see the infrared spectrum. So then I'm going to decide. We are going to do some past papers, then you will see. Okay, then for nitrile T triple bond N, you will see the peak at 2200 to 2250. Then if you have alkane like the C single bond H, okay, so you will see the peak at this. And if you have amine and amide, you will see the peak at this. This is very important. OH, OH, alcohol. So if alcohol is present in carboxylic acid, yani ke I'm talking about this alcohol, I'm talking about this alcohol, तो उसकी peak आपको नजर आएगी इस पे. And if you can see OH in hydroxy, like in alcohol, if you can see OH in alcohol, so you will see peak at 3200 to 3650. Okay. So in this way, you are going to see like the data, like the infrared data. Okay. And then if you can notice, you are given a ranges you are given. It's not is you can say a specific infrared absorption rate absorption. No, they are going to absorb range of radiation. You can see range is from 1040 to 1300. It's a range. It's not specific. It's not a specific number. What's the reason? What's the reason? Let me tell you this. What's the reason? Let me tell you this. Okay. So number one, okay, different bonds absorb different frequencies, and then they show response. Okay, but in the data booklet, why there are ranges? Why there are ranges? So let me take a screenshot of that. Okay, so that we can relate. Okay. Uh, okay. Mhm. See this. मेरे पास आ गया ये data. Okay. So now the next question is why range of absorptions are given. This is very important to know. If you can see, let's suppose I'm going to take infrared spectrum of a water. This is your water. This is your water. And you are going to just provide infrared radiation. Okay. You are going to provide infrared radiation. Acha, ab, when you are going to provide infrared radiation to the water, how the water behaves, how the bonds are going to vibrate. You know, vibration has different modes: stretching, scissoring, twisting, different modes we have. Let me show you how they are going to let me show you how they are going to respond. Okay, so see this, ताकि मैं आपको बता सकूं कि why they are going to show the ranges. Okay, so that I can show you the ranges. Okay, so see this. I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Uh, yeah, this one. Okay. ये देखो जरा. In this way, the bonds are going to behave. In this way, the bonds are going to vibrate. Symmetric stretching, anti-symmetric stretching, rocking, wagging, twisting, scissoring. So of course they are going to absorb. Of course they are going to absorb
Subscribe now.
different radiation. Okay, they are going to absorb different radiations. That's the reason they are going to absorb a range of radiation. क्यों? के vibration has difference. तो हर bond इससे करेगा. तो vibration has different modes. आपसे ये पर को उस देखना है. ओके, vibration has modes. ये आपको दिखाया. That's the reason frequency are by the metric metric or twist. तो इसमें each and every bond लिए for each and every bond me? Hello. Hello. Hear me? Hello. Do you have my screen? Can you hear me? Yeah. Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, good. So I am saying K, why the range of absorptions are given is due to it's due to the different vibration modes. It's due to vibration mode. So the touch can vibrate in different modes, just like uh, uh, due to different modes of vibration, due to modes of vibrations. Okay, due to different modes of vibration. That's why the ranges are given. That's why the ranges are given, including, including scissoring, including scissoring, comma, twisting, okay, comma, wagging, and stretching. I mean, stretching may be symmetric or asymmetric, but I'm going to give you a concept. Okay, why they are going to show the range of absorption. Okay, then afterwards, uh, like after doing this all, the detector is going to give you a response. The detector is going to give you a response. Okay, after after doing this all, after doing this all, detector detector gives response of the compound. Detector gives the response of the compound. अब वो response देगा, क्या pattern होगा उसका, you can see over there. Okay, क्या pattern होगा, you can see this. Yeah. So on y-axis you have percent transmittance. On x-axis you have wave number. You have wave number in centimeter inverse. Wave number in centimeter inverse. Okay. So this is this is the behavior. Like this is the response of a compound. Okay. Let's suppose. Okay. Or just like that. Okay. So x-axis per you have you can say this is 0, then this is 500, then this is 1000, then this is 1500, then chalte 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 chalte. This is 3000. Okay, this is 3500, or this is 4000. All values are in centimeter inverse. Okay. अच्छा ये जो छोटी छोटी peaks आ रही है ना, they are called weak peaks, they are called weak signals. But interestingly, in the recent syllabus, updated syllabus, examiner would not interested to ask which peak is the broad peak, which peak is a strong peak, which peak is a weak peak. वो ये नहीं पूछेगा. He is interested in identifying the number of peaks, like the which peak is responsible for which functional group, which peak is responsible for which functional group. Okay, so let me tell you one thing. Okay, we would not consider the fingerprint region. The fingerprint region is from 0 to 1500 centimeter inverse. This is called the fingerprint region. हमें इसको नहीं देखना है. Okay, I would not consider the fingerprint region. इससे हट के देखना है. आइए जरा. You can see कि this peak is from approximately, it ranges from 2800 centimeter inverse to 3800 centimeter inverse. So I would see the data booklet and I would match what is the bond which is going to absorb this much frequency. Oh, carboxylic acid. I can identify easily. I can identify easily. Okay. And then I would see this peak. Of course, this is a weak signal, but there is. I'm going to consider it. Okay, this signal is maybe is due to the carbon hydrogen bond. Okay. Sometime you will see a signal due to the carbonyl bond. Okay. Due to the carbonyl bond, this signal you will see at 1642, 1642, 1750. Okay. अच्छा, एग्जामिनर वुड बी गिविंग यू अ डिफरेंट इंफॉर्मेशन एज वेल. ऐसा नहीं है कि वो सिर्फ ये देकर आपसे पूछ रहा है. नो, he would be giving you multiple, like you can say, in multiple dimensions. He would be providing you information so that you can identify in an easier manner. Okay, let me show you a question. You can see this. Okay, which diagram shows the infrared spectrum of a compound that contains both a carbonyl and an OH group? Carbonyl and an OH group. Okay, यानी कि वो कौन सी डायग्राम है जिसमें कार्बोनाइल भी है और OH भी है? It seems like that this is a carboxylic acid. Okay, it's an idea, but let's see कि इसमें क्या होता है. तो let's check A. A में this is the I'm not going to consider this region. Okay, okay. So if you can see this, this is 1000, this is 2000, this would be 1500, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, this is 1500, 22, 3, 4, 5, this is 3500. Okay. Uh, I'm not gonna see this region. Okay, this region. This is a fingerprint region. I'm going to consider this peak. I'm going to consider this peak. Okay, this peak is present at 16, 17, 17, approximately 1750. Okay, and this is also the peak. This is also the peak. It's from, you can say it's uh, 2800 approximately. 2800 approximately. Okay. So let me add the given data. So 1750, 1750, 1750 is this. Okay. But 2000 is due to this peak. This is carbon and hydrogen peak. Okay. This is carbon and hydrogen peak. Okay. So this compound contains only carbonyl, not OH. I need the peak at this for OH, for hydroxy compound. Okay. So uh, then let me check the B. Let me check B. Of course, this is 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Again, I can say that this peak is due to carbonyl. This peak is due to carbonyl. Or, or this peak, you can see a broad peak at, you can see this peak at 3000, 3000 approximately. So of course, there should be OH group. Should be OH group. Seems that मैं इसको different कर देता हूँ. So this peak is due to OH. This peak is due to OH. Seems that this is the best option. But let me check C. Okay. Okay. For C 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. No. Carbonyl is absent in this. Carbonyl is absent in this. C is wrong option. It's wrong. Okay. आगे मैं देख ही नहीं रहा. Let's check D. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Oh, carbonyl is again absent. Carbonyl is again absent. Okay. So 100% B option is correct. 100%, 100% B option is correct. Are you getting my point? Yes or no? Are you getting my point? Yes or no? किसी को भी कोई प्रॉब्लम हो, you may ask. किसी को भी कोई issue, feel free to ask. Yeah, it's okay. Easy. जल्दी बताओ. Any question? Any doubt? Yeah. हाँ भाई, ताला. Are you getting? Yeah, Iman, Hadia, Hafsa, Shafe. Any problem? Sophia, Muhammad Ahmad, Simona. Yeah, do
No.
you have any problem?
No.
Okay, good. See this? See this question? Okay. Yeah. Question number 2. What do you think? A scientist chooses either infrared spectroscopy or mass spectrometry to find a particular piece of information. In which row has the best choice been made? Identify identities of functional groups in an organic compound. Infrared. Identities of functional groups in an organic compound. Mass. No. B is completely wrong. Values of successive ionization energy. No, man. A is correct. A is correct. It's a best choice. A is correct. Okay. Uh,
So
okay.
why is D incorrect?
Values of successive ionization energies, we can uh, we can identify the molecular mass through mass spectrometry. We can identify the presence of isotopes through the mass spectrometry. We can identify the percent abundances of an isotope through the mass spectrometry. We never identify the values of successive ionization energy through the mass spectrometry. This is wrong. Okay, that's the reason D is incorrect.
Okay, sir.
Okay, yeah. So can you tell me this question number 6? It's a good question. आप देखो सबसे पहले, फिर मैं आपको बताता हूँ कैसे होगा ये. या फास्ट. जल्दी जल्दी भाई, जल्दी फटाफट. You can take a screenshot of this information. Fast. जल्दी 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 फटाफट. Okay. Now fast 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 fast. जल्दी 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 फटाफट. या. Should I tell you this? Okay, okay, let me tell you this. Uh, Infrared spectrum shown was obtained from compound G. Okay, what could be compound G? Let me show you the peaks first. Let me show you the peaks first. Okay, so this peak, this peak is at, this peak is at uh, approximately 1600, 1750. So it's due to carbonyl. Carbonyl of what? You know, let me check this peak as well. This peak, this peak is at, this peak is at, you can say, okay, 2900 or 3000. So 1750 says that it's an aster. 1710 to 1750 says that it's an aster. It's an aster. Okay. Or 2800 wali peak says that it's a carbon hydrogen bond. तो ये तो बिल्कुल क्लियर है. ऑप्शन सी इज करेक्ट. दैट इज योर एस्टर. ऑप्शन सी इज योर एस्टर. ऑफ कोर्स, आंखें बंद करके सी इज योर करेक्ट ऑप्शन. ओके, इट्स वेरी इजी. इट्स वेरी इजी. या. Compound X consists of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen only. It has only one functional group. What can be deduced about X? What can be deduced about X? X is an aldehyde or ketone. X is an alcohol. X is a carboxylic. X is an alkene. Yeah, what do you think? You have spectrum, you have information, then you can see. Yeah. So so this peak, this peak, this peak is at 16 and then 17. Again, this is at 710, 1710. Or this peak, this peak is the broad peak basically. Okay. So you can say okay, it's 2800 से लेकर 3300 तक. Okay. Right. Set. So you can see okay, 2500 to 3000. 2500 to 3000. No, it's 3200 to 3650. You have to see that. Okay, you have to see that. कि अब मैं इसको क्या कंसीडर करूं. ओके, अब मैं इसको क्या कंसीडर करूं. So it's a broad peak starting from approximately you can see कि यहाँ से लेकर वो यहाँ से यहाँ तक जा रही है. It's a broad peak. Okay, so I can say this is carboxyl. No, I can say this is carboxyl. Okay, this would be very easy for you to memorize the shapes. Mean the shapes are fixed. Let me show you the shape of alkyl and the shape of carboxylic acid. Let me show you in infrared spectroscopy. Okay. Yeah. See this, the shape of alcohol peak. The shape of alcohol peak. Okay. This is for ethanol. You can see this. This is for ethanol. Ethanol has OH, right? Ethanol has OH basically. Okay. So you can see the shape. You can see shape. This is also alcohol peak. This is also alcohol peak, right? And let me tell you carboxylic acid. Let me tell you carboxylic acid. Okay. So this is OH bond in carboxylic acid. You can check this. Now you can match with the given spectra. This is for carboxylic acid and that was for alcohol. Can you match with the given data like this? What do you think? What is supposed to be? Is this carboxylic or alcohol? What do you think? Yeah,
Sir, isn't it carboxylic?
exactly. This is going to match with carboxylic acid. So X is a carboxylic acid. X is carboxylic acid. Okay, X is carboxylic acid. एल्कोहल की थोड़ी सी ब्रॉड पीक होती है. Like I mean this is your alcohol. This is your alcohol. Yeah. Okay. I would be sending you the notes, so I would be including all the peaks, all the shapes. Okay. ताकि आपको आसानी हो. So खैर, this is your carboxylic acid, right? Okay. Uh, like see this question. Hmm, hmm. It's easy question. Yeah. Compound X has the empirical formula C2H4O is infrared spectrum. First of all, we have to identify the peaks, okay, and then we would be matching with the following compounds, okay. So this peak first, this peak first, this is due to the carbonyl peak at 1710, and you can see this peak. So this peak is at around 2900. So this peak is due to carbon and hydrogen bond. When you have a peak at 1710, so it relates an ester. It relates an ester. It relates an ester. So of course, an A and option B may be correct because they both are esters. Option C and D, they are completely wrong. Option D is ketone and alcohol. No. Option C is alcohol and aldehyde. No. Option B and A is for ester. So how can we whether A or find empirical formula? So this is carbon 1, 2, 3, 4, C4 and H3 in 3, 6, 7, 8 and then O2. Then this is 1, 2, 3, 4. Carbon atoms. Hydrogens 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and then O2. So the empirical would be C2H4O. The empirical would be C2H3O. Okay. So of course it's going to match this option. That's the reason. Option A is correct option. Okay. Hopefully you understood this. Not a rocket science. It's very easy. Just you have to see the peaks. Yeah, map with the game. You will get your answer. Okay. Yeah. Can you- Mhm. जल्दी. जल्दी भाई जल्दी फटाफट.
D.
B for ball or D for doctor?
D.
Okay, this okay. So basically, uh, first of all, I would see this 1650. Okay, and we have this peak. Hmm. And this peak. Okay, ji. So this peak is due to 1650, or then you have two peaks. The first peak is at 21, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2800 to 3000, and another peak is at 3100 to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 3600. Okay, so it seems that this is an alcohol. Seems that this is an alcohol, as you can see. 3200 to 3600 shows this is hydroxy. Shows this is hydroxy, and and the peak at 1650. 1650 shows that this is your carbon carbon double bond. Carbon carbon double bond. Okay. So ultimately, I can say I have to select the option. I have to select the option in which I can have alkene and alcohol. Of course, this is D. Of course, this is D. It's easy. Mhm. Okay. Yeah. See this question. Jaldi, jaldi, jaldi. Okay, let me tell you this. Sorry.
C.
C. Okay. ओके, देखते हैं, चेक करते हैं. पहली पीक तो आपको नजर आ रही है एट अराउंड 1650 पे। ओके, मतलब कि रेंज है आपके पास के इट्स फ्रॉम 1600 टू 1700। ओके, और देन वी हैव दिस पीक। ये पीक आपको नजर आ रही है 31, 32, 3200 से 34, 3500 तक। ओके, एंड देन दिस पीक इज एट 2900। ये तो होती कार्बन हाइड्रोजन की पीक है। ओके, दिस इज ड्यू टू कार्बन एंड हाइड्रोजन। तो कह रहे हैं नाइट्राइल की पीक। ओ नाइट्राइल की पीक कब आती है? when you have a peak at when you have a peak at 2200। 2200, क्या 2200 पे पीक नजर आ रही है? 2200 is this. No peak at 2200. So nitrile is absent. Nitrile is absent because no peak at 2200. So nitrile वाले जितने भी ऑप्शन है मेरे गलत होंगे। ऑप्शन ए इज रॉन्ग। ओके, ऑप्शन डी इज रॉन्ग। I have to decide between B and C. Neither carbonyl nor nitrile are present. नहीं ना, नहीं 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 नहीं, carbonyl is there. Carbonyl is there. We can see the peak of carbonyl. We can see the peak of carbonyl. So option C is correct. Okay. Easy है यार. Nice question. Good. See this question 14. Yeah. बिल्कुल बेबी क्वेश्चन है ये, एकदम हलवा। You must do
C.
this question. C. Okay. Ethyl ethanoate, it's an ester. Ethyl ethanoate, it's an ester. So, this is your peak at 1670, 100, यानी कि इस पर peak आ रही है approx. And this is a broad peak. This is a broad peak. So, एक तो peak ये भी आपको नजर आ रही है ना, around 2500 to 3000। और एक आपको पीक नजर आ रही है 2200 से लेकर 2200 से लेकर 21 टू 3 4 5 तक। ओके, सो व्हाट कुड बी द आइडेंटिटी ऑफ कंपाउंड एक्स? और दूसरा ये कि 2500 से 3000 पे अगर आपको पीक मिल रही है, इट्स ड्यू टू 2500 से 3000। ओ ओ, carboxylic acid, carboxylic acid, carboxylic acid. So carboxylic acid is your option. वो कौन है, कौन है, कौन है? Carboxylic acid is first. A is correct. A is correct. A is correct. Okay. और दूसरा कार्बोनाइल अगर कार्बोक्सिलिक का हो, if the carbonyl is from carboxylic, then we get the peak. Okay. If the carbonyl is from the carboxyl, means carboxylic acid. So we can see the peak at 1670 to 1740. We are seeing the same peak. Okay. Easy.
Sir, but isn't the peak at 1710?
या इट्स अ रेंज बेसिकली ना। तो मैंने रेंज अगर मैं इसकी लिखूं तो यू कैन सी कि इट्स स्टार्टिंग फ्रॉम हेयर एंड दिस, सो इट्स अराउंड 1610 to 17 and then 17 8 was 16 17, it's around this। या थोड़ा सा और इसको अगर आप वो कर लो तो it's just like that 1700 1600 to 1750 around। ओके। और दूसरा सबसे बड़ी बात कि कार्बोक्सिलिक है, मतलब सबसे बड़ी हिंट तो आपको यहाँ से मिल गई कि दिस इज द कार्बोक्सिलिक एसिड, और वो आपके पास एक ही ऑप्शन है और कोई भी नहीं है। ऑप्शन बी इज अल्कोहल। अल्कोहल में यू विल नेवर सी द पीक एट 1700 क्योंकि इन कार्बोक्सिलिक एसिड यू हैव कार्बोनाइल। In carboxylic acid, you have carbonyl. So this peak is going to confirm the presence of this carboxylic acid. अगर इसमें ये कार्बोनाइल की पीक ना होती तो I would never say that this is carboxylic acid, okay? Because in carboxylic acid you have C double bond O and then OH, okay? Yeah, see this? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. या स्क्रीनशॉट तो है ना आपके पास, वहां से कंपेयर करवाओ ना। ओके, लेट मी टेल यू दिस। पहली पीक तो ये है आपके पास, शार्प पीक है। रेंज इसकी मैं देख लेता हूँ क्या है। बहुत कम रेंज है वैसे। इट्स अराउंड एग्जैक्ट 1710, ओके। 17 1600 1700 टू 1750 तक। और यू कैन सी दिस पीक, यू कैन सी दिस पीक। So it's starting from 2900 to 3000। So we can check the given data। उसमें हमें कहाँ नजर आ रही थी, कार्बोनाइल की पीक 1710 to 1750, like carbonyl is there, okay? Or like it may be your any carbonyl aldehyde and ketone। और पीक नजर आ रही थी 2800 to 31, so it's due to an alkane, okay? There is no any, there is no any, there is no any, there is no any, there is no any। So I can say कि I can say that this is your, I can say that this is your butanone, like this is only ketone. In this only the carbonyl group is there, nothing else. There is no alcohol. Where is the broad peak of alcohol? Option A is wrong. Butanoic acid. Where is the peak of carboxylic acid? Just like that. No. Hydroxy again alcohol. Where is the broad peak? No. That's why C is correct. That's why C is correct. So that's all for infrared spectroscopy। ओके जी, तो होपफुली बात समझ आ गई होगी मेरी।